Bubsy 3D. Bubsy 3D Forbidden Planet is a platform game developed by Eidetic and published by Accolade. This game is notorious for being god-awful, but I honestly like the game a lot. Obviously, the game has a lot of flaws, but let's just go over the game. When you open up the case, you're greeted by a nice blue disc that has Bubsy 3D on it. Taking a closer look at the disc, it's as bland as it looks at first glance. Just a blue disc with pop pads on it. You can take the manual at the front as you would with any PlayStation game. And as you open up the manual, you're greeted with a table of contents. You know? Deathmatch! The 2-player game requires 2 players, so you're probably going to have to stop playing video games for a little while, and you go out and make some friends.
Oh wow, that was fast. Oh, don't need this anymore.
Bubsy 3D. When you get a few, come on back and we'll pick up where we left off. Oh good, you're back. Well, now that you have all the required components necessary for a 2-player game, you do have to have 2 controllers plugged into the PlayStation, right? We can commence with the festivities. I think that's enough of the deathmatch section of the manual. Let's move on to the game itself. What could possibly go wrong? Let's start with the controls. When describing the controls of the game, people often describe them as difficult or tedious. But once you manage to get used to the controls, you realize that the tank controls aren't really that bad. You can basically use them like a joystick if you try really hard. I often find myself rarely stopping when playing the game to turn, and I manage to just slip my thumb to the side when I want to turn, and it makes the game a lot easier when you're able to do that. I can hear you screaming, Kiy! You were shown with Joy-Cons! It must be a lot harder to do that with a PlayStation controller. Well, fuck you! When I first played this game, I used a PlayStation controller. It's definitely a little easier with the Joy-Cons than the PlayStation controller, but it's similar when it comes to turning around. A lot similar, really. Another complaint that people often have with this game is its, well, level design. The level design can often be bad. It's not that it's hard, per se, but more of just the level design isn't very good. Like, the level design feels empty, you know? That's just no fun. The way it feels empty is the lack of textures, really. In other games from around this time, like Super Mario 64 and Crash, you can tell that a lot of love went into the game when it comes to like the textures and shit. So it's just kind of empty. In defense of Bubsy 3D though, the reason why that the textures are non-existent basically is they tried to make a PlayStation 1 game very high quality when it comes to like less pixelated, you know? And that really backfired because they ran out of room on the disc. The way they were going to originally release it as well, there was no room on the disc anymore. Like it was overfilling because they didn't want any fog in the game. Because of that, it's just They could have dialed it down a lot. They could have just went with the pixels and accepted it. Because, you know, they could have had textures. They could have had platforms that were actually platforms. And not just ominous rectangles. And of course, a big issue with the game that a lot of people have. Bubsy's voice.
Now, what would a platform game be without platforms? I wonder if there's any extra lives up there. Woohoo! Now, if you lose a Bubsy, you'll start over here instead of at the beginning of the level! Ain't life grand?
Bubsy's voice in this game is a lot different than the other 3 games. In the other 3 games, he doesn't sound like a maniac.
Hey, I thought I saw Elvis back there. Ah, a pyramid scheme.
You know? He sounds like a normal person. Well, in Bubsy 3D, he sounds like a small child. You know? It's... Why? Why did they decide to go with this? Because the voice actor that they went with is like... It's really talented, you know? Fucking, what's it again? The same voice actor for Rouge and Adventure. Yeah. So whatever they wanted, they could probably get out of her. It's too bad that they didn't want anything that was good. They went with...
Oh, look! An arrow! Aren't these game designers wonderful?
You know? And it really sucks. They could have gave Bubsy a really good voice. But they gave him an annoying one that makes him sound like a small child. That makes him sound like a small child. Now, this is why whenever I play Bubsy 3D, I don't imagine him like being the same Bubsy as the one in the pilot or the one in Bubsy 1, 2, and 3. I imagine him more as a younger version of Bubsy who just got taken to Planet Rayon for no reason. And that's a good segue into the next thing that people have wrong with this game. The story is weird to non-Bubsy fans. The story of every game is weird if you don't read the comics, really. Basically, the first game, the story is like, ooh, us woolies, we want, whoa, this random bobcat on Earth, he has a lot of wool, so we're gonna steal it all from him. Now, with Bubsy 3D, the woolies capture him for killing a lot of woolies in the first few of the games. Or, in the first game, the second and third one don't really have woolies in them. So they capture him for it, and they're like, haha, you suck, you know? But Bubsy manages to escape their prison because the woolies are really stupid, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you all, pretty much. He just commits genocide on all of the woolies. The woolies are attacking you because you were attacking them, and like, I think Bubsy's really in the wrong in Bubsy 3D for that one. There's 2 endings to the game. There's the bad ending, where I think Bubsy gets arrested again, and then there's the good ending, where Bubsy gets all of the rockets. Every level has 2 rockets in them. When you collect them all, at the end of the game, you get the good ending, which consists of Bubsy building a rocket and going through time by accident because there's too many atoms inside of the rocket. How did this happen? I have no fucking clue. Now you must be thinking, I just said so many negative things about Bubsy 3D. How can I possibly enjoy this game? Bubsy motherfucking 3D. I'll tell you how. It's stupid. This game is like, it's my favorite game, unironically. It's one of those games I like to just pop in my computer, boot up, and just play for hours. Or pop in my PlayStation and play for hours, you know? It's just a stupid game. And playing the same levels over and over again and finding weird glitches and secrets is fun, really. Oh, that's why I enjoy the game. There's a lot wrong with the game, but I really enjoy it. Especially the stupid music. I know with the music, they were going for like, oh, this is a different planet, so they would have a different kind of music. But it's stupid. The more you go in the game, the more distorted the music feels. That just... Bubsy 3D's a mess. It's better than Bubsy 2 at least.